Welcome, good morning. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. Welcome to my Power Connection chat, my live stream broadcast for LinkedIn Live. Very excited to be here and always here every morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday to Friday. My name is Bobby Umar, in case you didn't know, and if you want to have been to my stream before or you haven't been here before, by all means, let people know what's going on, and it's starting, and I'm very excited to have you here. Today's topic is going to be about how to network effectively at LinkedIn local events. It's particular toward LinkedIn local because, we have a LinkedIn local Toronto meetup tonight on storytelling. Tonight in Toronto, and so I'm very excited about that. And DYPB, Discovery Personal Brand, my startup, is one of the people that's organizing it. So we're very, very happy about that, and we're very excited. So I thought I'd take that as the topic du jour of the day. So before we begin, I share my thoughts, why don't you comment below, let me know where you're from, where you checking in from, Australia, Europe, Canada, USA, wherever you are. I'd love to kind of know where you're from, and then we'll get into the topic. You can also start commenting, asking questions. You can tag people. You can share this on your own feeds to get people part of this conversation around networking effectively. All right, so that's the main thing. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my LinkedIn here, because sometimes it's weird, I have to check my profile and make sure it's all working properly to see you guys are all there. That way I can see your comments, which is always really good. And networking is something. Here we go. I'm already here, and people are already here. That's good. I'm gonna open this thing up, and we are good to go. People have joined us. I love this. Okay, so I see people. Oh, there we go. All right, look at that. Morning. Yes, Michael, live every day. I'll be live every day at 8:30 a.m. Monday to Friday. I'm doing that for consistency, to create a channel that you guys can rely on and trust. And also I'm also doing weekly interviews. So they're usually on Wednesday because it's Wisdom Wednesday. So tomorrow I'm doing an interview with Simeon Wong, and we're going to talk about his expertise, which is on CVs and resumes. And so I'm very excited about that. And then I'm already booking other people too. So if you know anyone else in the Toronto area that wants to be booked, some influencer or some sort of expert in their field, let me know and tag them below, and I can add them to my calendar. So live every day. Morning, hello. Max, would I ever visit LinkedIn Local Melbourne? Of course I would, but who would pay for the flight? Like, I totally would, Max, but I'd love to be able to do that. Just that it's a long way off, and to spend that time away from my family would be, obviously it'd have to be something quite worth my time in terms of the financial aspect as well as the time aspect. So, but I totally would love that. I mean, I've been to other places for speaking. Like, I've been to India, and I've been to Tunisia and Africa. I've been to Europe, and so I do travel around the world for different things, but usually it's for professional speaking gigs. Morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, Trinidad and Tobago. Wow, that's cool. Toronto, the Netherlands, Toronto, Colombia, Toronto, Baltimore. Yeah, well, String is awesome, right? So String and I have collaborated together on many occasion, and we've even created a mastery video program and course. And so, I love String. String's great, and she talks about storytelling all the time, so that's really good. She should actually come. We're actually going to. Here's the other big thing. Because now I'm doing live stream, LinkedIn Lives. I'm going to live stream the entire event, guys. So the panel at least. So there'll be approximately 6:30, 6:45 p.m. my time. That's going to be amazing. And if you do miss the interview, don't worry about it. These are always recorded. There's a replay available on my feed. Right now, LinkedIn hasn't done a good enough job to let people know about it on the feed. So, for example, I don't see notifications. I don't see any sort of link to it afterwards. So that's something that people needs to know. Hey, Lawrence. All right. More people joining. This is awesome. I love this. All these people joining in. So everyone's here. Again, if you like what you're hearing, like the stuff, by all means, do like, love, heart, light bulb, all those different things. You can also share it on your page. You can comment. We'd love to hear from you. So let's start off with the first thing, which is networking effectively LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Local. So, LinkedIn Locals is a phenomenon that's been quite prolific. They started with Anna McAfee and a group of three others, and they started doing these LinkedIn local events where you take the professional online platform LinkedIn, right, which is great for networking and job searching and all that kind of stuff, but then you take it down to the live level. So now you take the online piece that goes to live. And I always talk about networking as you meet people live, you add them on in real life, and then you meet them live again. And so this whole spectrum of connection is actually really great. Hey, Tatiana, good to see you. And Lauren says cross-post to YouTube. Well, yeah, all my videos are posted to YouTube, so I will do that, absolutely. But the focus is to, to put them on LinkedIn first. So, yeah, so the LinkedIn locals have been a really great phenomenon, and so it allows professionals who are networking online to network live. And then on top of that, there's always content that allows you to get people to share their expertise. Often there's panels or small groups, or there's a couple of talks and keynotes and things like that. And hey, thanks Anya Kachi. Kachi, good to see you. Thanks so much. Hey Tommy, good to see you. That's awesome. Yeah, so it's really great. And if you haven't been to one, there's some all over the world. So if you just go to LinkedInLocal.com, you'll actually see where all the ones are happening in the world. Just like TED and TEDx, it's the same kind of phenomenon. And we've now done, I think, 10 of them. This is now our 11th LinkedIn Local Toronto meetup. So these are the Toronto ones, Swish Goswami started this up, and the momentum has been fantastic in terms of getting people out there, and the topics have been great. We've covered things like diversity and inclusion. We've covered things like storytelling, burnout, women breaking barriers. It's just been a really amazing experience. Max, like LinkedIn Local and cheesemaking. Well, at a certain point, if you do enough of them, you can probably have any expertise you want. Hey, Nikhil, good to see you too. So that's kind of cool. So, networking effectively. Well, I mean, first off, if you want to network effectively at a LinkedIn Local, one of the things you have to understand is the people who are there who are organizing. So I think right away you should reach out to the organizers, right? So, hey, listen, I'm coming to your event. I'm very excited about it. I'd love to meet with you. Maybe even show up early. Show up like 10, 15 minutes early to, meet with the organizers. If you're even so bold, you can even volunteer to help set up and help run things. People love volunteers. Like organizations that put these things together, they'd love to have volunteers to help out. So I think that's a great first step in terms of, coming early, maybe volunteering and seeing if you can get together with the organizers to talk to them. That's the first thing. The second thing you do is if you look at, LinkedIn on your app, on your phone, and I'll use my other phone because I have another phone. On your app, there's actually a LinkedIn button where you can actually see who's close by, right? So what you can do is you can see LinkedIn contacts nearby, and in doing so, you'll actually be able to connect with people who are there, which is actually kind of cool. So it's a great way to understand who's around at the event. And you can then network with them, which is really cool. So it's awesome. It's an awesome way to understand. So right here, I'm going to show it to you. Here's this. So if you see this, has it backwards. The very top in the center, there's a thing called Find Nearby. So what you do is you turn that on, and then automatically LinkedIn will connect you to people who are there that have theirs on too. Now I think the point here, make sure it's on so that other people can see who you are and that you're there. But it's a great way to LinkedIn quickly and start talking to people, which is awesome. Like who doesn't want to? That's a great way to connect. So I think that's a really cool trick for you to start using when it comes to your stuff. Anthony, if you want to volunteer, you reach out. I mean, when you get to the event, the organizers are there, so you can easily ask, who can I volunteer? That's always a good question to ask. There's also, you can go to the different sites of people who are, Max is saying come on time versus don't come early. Well, I didn't say super early. I said 5-10 minutes early. Like if you really want to network. But you can reach out to the organizers. You'll see them there. They're probably the ones who registering everybody. There's always a couple of sponsors who are the ones that are part of the event, and they are the organizers to reach out to. So that's really what you should do. Hey, Giselle, good to see you. Yeah, and LinkedIn Locals are a great way to build those connections. So going back to how do we network effectively with the LinkedIn Locals? So we talked about coming early and talking to the organizer. We talked about using the LinkedIn Live Nearby to see who's nearby. The other thing is to think about, okay, who do you want to connect with? Because again, there's conversations. So one of the things that happens with most LinkedIn Locals is there's a networking portion. Sometimes there's 1 or 2 or even 3 sections where you can network with people. And that's the time for you to really make those connections. Now, it doesn't mean you go around and just hand your business card here and there, right? What you want to do is start conversations. Now, what do you start about? I mean, I have an entire networking mastery program, which is 12 weeks long, 12 modules long, that I teach people how to become networking masters. But, in the general networking sense, you're cultivating relationships. You're trying to build connections. So what you're doing is just having conversations. So at each networking section, take the time to meet 2 or 3 people, have some nice conversations with people, and if you're struggling for stuff to talk about, number one, ask about them. Ask questions, like open-ended yes and question. Tell me more about what you're doing, what brings you here, and that's a really awesome thing. Now, Kachi's asking, Bobby, can I catch on what you guys are doing? Well, yeah, I mean, there's if you go to the DYPB LinkedIn page, you'll see a link to the storytelling event, but you'll see all that's going on there. So take a look at that. So going back to networking, we're talking networking. Thanks, Laura. Laura's here. Good to see you. Appreciate that. So now you're at the event and you're trying to network more effectively. So now you're having these conversations between during the networking breaks. Okay. Now don't try to network with 20 people during the break. The break's like 20 to 30 people, 20 minutes long. Try to get 2 or 3 good connections. Good. Now, if you meet someone, you're like, oh, hey, like, okay, fine, leave that person and go to someone else. But like, and I mean, that rarely happens to be like, hey, oh. I think that within 5 minutes, you should know whether you should be exiting or sticking around to talk a little bit more. You start to talk about them. Maybe talk about the topic. Hey, what did you think about the panel? What did you think about that talk that the keynote person did? Or is there anyone interesting here that you met that you'd like to connect me to? Because, I'm here to network. Let people know your purpose and your objective. Let them know that you want to meet people. Let them know. And again, thanks for all these great little hearts. I love the hearts when they go. It's so nice. The shirt, yeah, Hogwarts, baby. Well, yeah, I've used this shirt for many videos and people always comment on it. So that's funny. So I mean, part of your job in terms of networking is when you're cultivating relationships, you are the one cultivating. You are planting the seeds. You are, tilling the soil to plant the seeds of cultivating those connections. So it means that you have to ask the questions and really try to invest in that person, understand who they are, what drives them, why they're there, what are some of the things that they care about. And if you do that, that's where you start to get really good traction with creating those deep connections. Then once you're in there, okay, now what's the conversation has to flow in a way where, you ask them questions, and if they ask you questions, great. It's important to do that. Thanks, Marty, for the kind work. Marianne says, what inspires you to do this work? Well, I mean, do you mean to do the work of networking or speaking or to do the work of LinkedIn Locals? I mean, let me know what you mean by that, Marianne, because I'm not sure. So, sounds like an okay, so Marianne says, what keeps you going on tough days? Well, on the tough, I mean, that's a side question, but let me answer this. What keeps me going on the tough days? Well, my tough days keep me going. Number one, it's my why statement, which is there are lost, stuck, and unfulfilled leaders everywhere I go. And what that means is everywhere I go, I meet people who feel lost in their jobs, stuck in their careers, and unfulfilled in their relationships. And so that's my purpose in terms of my work and my life, and so it fuels me to go on and keep moving forward. The second thing that helps me is my support network. So I have my family, my friends, and then I have the people in my network who support the work that I'm doing, and they, my team on DYPB. All these people are huge in terms of helping me create that focus and that purpose on the rough days. And everyone has rough days. It's fine. I'm usually pretty positive, pretty idealistic, and optimistic, but I get rough days too. But those people definitely help me. Marianne also asks, oh, I see. Okay, so Marianne's saying these are questions to ask people. What can you do to help you? What keeps you going tough days? Okay, good. I appreciate that. So Marianne has said that the whole point of this is to ask what questions to ask. So she made some suggestions on what can I do to help you? What keeps you going on tough days? What inspires you to do this work? Those are very good, positive, open-ended questions that really dive deep as opposed to the surface level questions like, what do you do? Or yes/no questions. Did you like the event? Yes. Are you coming back? No. Would you like to connect? No. And then these one-word answers, you're not going to get anything from that. So you want to make sure that you have really good questions so people to actually engage in the discussion. And then while you're discussing, you want to make sure what's the follow-up, right? So every single networking event and conversation should have a follow-up. So are you going to exchange business cards? Are you going to connect on LinkedIn? Are you going to send this person that article you talked about? Are you going to refer them to someone else that you talked about? Have some sort of value-added follow-up when you're at the end of this thing. And then maybe if you want to be even more bolder, I think it's, hey, is there someone else here I should meet? Can you introduce me? That's a great way to foster connections beyond just the one person, but actually have, have a maybe a 3 or 4 person conversation, which is actually really nice, and actually makes you more comfortable, because often people are more comfortable in a group of 3 or 4 sometimes than they are the one-on-one, because the pressure's on them to carry on the conversation. So, and other people like the one-on-one. Again, do what works for you, but it's important for you to leverage that in the best way possible. Now, the other thing that happens at LinkedIn local events is there's always other things going on. Like there's usually, like the one we're doing, there's going to be headshots. So you can encourage people to take some headshots with you and prep for that in advance. There's going to be there's always going to be like tables of other people that are there. There's going to be sponsors, so make sure you go there, talk to those people, and support the different groups that are there, because LinkedIn locals are set up in a way that they're extremely accessible. So they're basically usually in a very close downtown location. They're usually quite inexpensive, like they're often free or $10 or $20 for the most, from what I've seen. And they do that because they want to make it accessible to anybody. So whether you're a student or a senior or anybody that wants to come and network, they make it accessible. So, but they can only do that when they have sponsors. So I know the one that's coming up tonight in Toronto is sponsored by DYPB and Barrow Toronto for that, and they're covering the venue, and they're covering some food. So it's going to be amazing. So it's actually sold out. So I mean, there's only standing room only tickets at the door if you wanna come by. But yeah, so make sure you do your best to try to connect with all the different people that are involved with these LinkedIn local events, and then after that, there's the follow-up. What are you doing to follow up with people at these events? Have you added them on your LinkedIn app? Have you followed up with a message to thank them for the time or what you learned? And are you connected on LinkedIn, or is there some sort of follow-up messaging that you do? And it's good to do that within a couple of business days. I mean, don't do it that night. That's a bit creepy and stalkerish. Maybe in 1 or 2 business days is good to do that. And sorry, one more thing I wanted to mention I forgot about is don't forget to network with the speakers. So every LinkedIn local has mostly local speakers who come to these events and want to engage people and want to, share their knowledge, but also engage and connect. And they often say on stage, well, you can all add me on LinkedIn and connect to me. And then how many people do? Hardly anybody. I can tell you this from a personal experience. Hey, Nonye, thanks so much, appreciate it. So, I know when I speak at events, like if I'm a keynote speaker in front of 500 people, very few people come up to me to engage me because they're intimidated, because he's the big speaker on the stage. But honestly, come on, I'm accessible. I'm a teddy bear. Like, it's like, come talk to me. At the LinkedIn locals, there's only like sometimes 50, 60, maybe 100 people. And there's like, a panel of 5 or 6. There's a couple of the speakers. There's the hosts. And they want to talk to you. So make sure you don't be afraid to go up to them and chat with them. And get some information, get some knowledge. Give some gratitude for what they shared, and make that connection, because the speakers that are there love to do that. So, Max, you're asking some really, really tough questions. Okay, I'm not going to answer them on this thing here, but I will mention sexism. I mean, if you see any sort of sexism going on, we had a Women Breaking Barriers event. You definitely make sure you got to call that out and make sure people are feeling comfortable and empowered and supported. I think that's really, really important. And again, at this point, now that so we've covered the entire aspect of how to network at LinkedIn local events. So if you like what you're hearing, you love what you thought. Now, why don't you share below? What are some of your tips for networking effectively? What are some of your thoughts on how LinkedIn locals have gone well? What are some of the things you love about them? And share that below. And we'll do a little bit of Q&A before. I usually do like talk 10, 15 minutes, and then we talk about Q&A. At the same time, oh, Laura, that's very kind of you. The LinkedIn local. Well, the next LinkedIn local is going to be July 24th. And actually, I'm happy to say that one of my friends from Australia, Diana Nguyen, is coming all the way from Australia, and she's going to be there, and it's going to be awesome. And that one's going to be about personal branding. So very, very excited about that. So if you like what you're seeing, comment below, share the like, share the click, share it on your page, tag people. Let's get people part of the conversation. Again, I'm here every day, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I also want to mention a couple things too while I'm here, which is every week I also host a Power of Connection tweet chat on Twitter, using the hashtag POC chat. and it's every Wednesday at 12 noon 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. If you ever want to join, check that out. It's happening today, so that's kind of cool. And it's happening tomorrow. Sorry, but and tomorrow I have an interview as well on CVs and resumes with Simeon Wong. I'm very excited about that too. And there's some really great comments here. So let me just address some of the comments that people are sharing around networking at LinkedIn local events. Tanash says, I'm always about finding out about what people need and who is providing it. I focus on connecting other people first and bring value to everyone first. Yeah, I mean, ideally, when you're networking and connecting, you want to be creating value. Melitza says, yeah, Dance with Diana. So I mean, if Diana's going to be a LinkedIn local event, we have to have a Dance with Diana section. I totally agree. I mean, that's got to happen. So I will tag Diana on this and make sure that she gets that message, because that's what we want. Okay, so she's coming to the one on the 24th. And we actually have LinkedIn local events in Toronto every 2 months. So there's going to be one in September, one in November, January, March, all the way into the next year. So we've been doing 10 of them. This is now our 11th, so that's kind of cool. And if anyone has any other questions on networking, you can ask below. I mean, that's something that I've been doing for a long time. In fact, when I first started doing keynotes as a professional speaker, that became my first expertise, was how to network better. It was my first book, How to Network Anytime, Anywhere with Anyone. And so I've been using that for a long time. And actually, I'm doing an event. I'm doing a keynote event in June that's specifically on networking and helping engineers network better. I'm also doing something in Africa in July on how to network better. So and networking and building relationships is a big part of thought leadership, as far as I define it. So it's a really great way to help people become better thought leaders in the field. Here's a question. Hi there. You may have mentioned this before. My apologies. Where would I look to find the location dates for LinkedIn local events? Well, LinkedInLocal.com. So if you just go to LinkedInLocal.com, you should be able to see them all there. And then also, if you are in wherever you are, what you can do? Just post. Just put a status update on LinkedIn right now and say, I'm looking for a LinkedIn local event that's in my area. Can anyone please help me? Tag Bobby. I'm happy to, comment, on, and bring some traction for it. And just, let's get the conversation going. Laura asked a question: advice for networking for introverts, Bobby. Yeah, so I've done an entire webinar on networking for introverts, a training webinar. But the general gist for introverts is, number one, it's all about mindset. So know your superpowers, right? So every introvert has a superpower, right? Usually they're along the lines of preparation, introspecting, listening. Most introverts are very, very good at that kind of stuff. So let's use those superpowers to your advantage. So you're going to a networking event, and so I want you to start thinking about and planning the things you want to, your objectives. I want you to start planning questions you're going to ask people and memorize them. Memorize 10 questions that you're going to ask people that are open-ended to drive the conversation. And then, use your listening powers at the event to spend time doing a lot of listening, right? And that's going to help you tremendously, because your powers of introspection and listening are going to you're going to actually be really good at investing in people, and people are going to feel great that way. So that to me is the other thing network introverts can do, is go with a friend. So have a wingman, a wing woman, a wing person, right? To go together as you go into groups or talk to different people and things like that. I think that's going to help you very well when you're trying to network more effectively, particularly if you're an introvert. Because and the other thing with introverts, I'll say, is that if you're at an event, and particularly a really large event, and you're feeling a little bit burnt out, I want you to take a break, go outside, go for a walk for like a couple of minutes. Introverts need to charge their batteries when it comes to socialization. So take that break, don't feel bad about it, and then come back, recharge, and ready to engage with purpose. Okay. Well, I don't have my headphones on, Tim, so there is a little bit of noise because my wife is home, and sometimes my kids are here. But usually, what we do is we get the kids out at 8:05 or 8:10. Today was a little bit late, so that's why I was late by a couple of minutes, and that's usually what happens. Sometimes there's a little bit of noise, but hey, you know what? This is my home studio. It's my home office. It's where I do them daily. It's just easier for me in the morning. But hopefully the sound quality is good, the content's good, the t-shirt's good, everything is good, and everyone's learning a lot here. All right, so if we don't have any other questions, I think it looks like we have a lot of people on the call, which is great. Remember, I'll be here every day, Monday to Friday. Tomorrow we have an interview on CVs and resumes, but then other than that, I'll have other topics throughout the year. The topics are going to be around things like entrepreneurship, career development, leadership, thought leadership, personal branding, networking, public speaking, and things like that. Thanks, Sarah. Real life. Love it. Okay. All right. If nobody has any other questions, Yeah, yes, and there you go, Tim. If you were doing a video right now, there'd be a ton of noise. I guarantee it. All right. So the topic today was networking at LinkedIn local events. So if there are LinkedIn local events in your area, check them out. If they're not, find out at LinkedInlocal.com. When you network, leverage the LinkedIn local setup and structure to network during the breaks, to learn about people, use your app, and try to make connections. Because again, LinkedIn, the platform has changed. It's great now. There's some amazing connections to be made here, and I hope you make the most of it, whether we're doing LinkedIn Lives together and talking here or whether we're meeting live in person. This is like one of the things I love about LinkedIn. I love about networking because I learned so much from the diversity of my audience, and I learned so much by sharing things with everyone here that's on this live stream. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. Please tag other people, share with other people. I'd love to get more people part of the conversation. I'll be here again tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully sharp. If not, not so sharp, but I try to do it around 8:30. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you guys later. Take care.